You are listening to the Magnetic Marketing Marketing Secret Gold Members Only Podcast.
What's up, Mr. Dan?
Same old, my friend.
Oh, good. Well, that's better than the alternative. I was thinking that as I was running down the road this morning. I don't see any other mid-50s guys out here running, so we'll keep going as long as we can. So, Dan, I'll run for you.
Please run for me. That's exactly right.
I will.
Henry Kissinger, died last week at 100. And,
Absolutely.
Henry was on a few of the events with us, and he famously ate badly, steak every day, smoked, and drank. And Henry's answer to exercise was, I like to watch sports on TV.
Okay, well, I can't add anything to that. So, Dan, quick question, and we're going to have more of a discussion rather than interview today. My question for you is, and you've done a bunch of this, so, how does one or how should one use a book to build your business? And specifically, I mean a book that you have written. I'm assuming you're the author of a book. Okay.
Yes. So this starts with, here's what not to do, first of all, which is decide on a subject you want to write about, go write about it, and then get it published. This you don't want to do because of the to build your business purpose. That changes everything. Now starts us with constructing a book that in every way possible will facilitate the building of your business. That, if noticed, will magnetically attract your ideal customer and may well repel customers that are not a good fit with you. That will lend itself to advertising and use as a lead magnet if that's part of your marketing system or is going to be part of your marketing system. That in its innards, from first page to last page, is designed to deliver a disguised sales presentation. Much the same as the discussion I just had with Marty about speaking to sell, where the book really, now the author must restrain himself from writing a how-to manual.
Okay.
And instead, write a inadequacy book that demonstrates to the reader their inadequacies, builds desire to replace those inadequacies with capabilities, and ultimately leads seamlessly into next steps to build those capabilities. Specific to the construction inside, you are self-publishing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have no limits to what you can do, so you can start putting some kind kind of offer right at the front of the book, not just at the back of the book. Build in little scan codes where people can go see a video, for example, that is an extension of the book. You are dealing with a quote, quote, real publisher. You have to negotiate all of that, but want as much movement from book to you architected in as you can get. We just redid, hasn't been published yet, but it, excuse me, but it's been accepted by the publisher. About next year, the new version of the No BS Guide to Direct Marketing or non-direct marketing businesses. And I did it with Darcy and Marty this time. And at least, well, I can think of one directly. In one of the chapters, talk about shock and awe boxes in the delivery of physical goods in the marketing process. And there's a scan code, so you can go to a website, you'll see samples of shock and awe packages shown and explained to you, a show and tell. The back door of that site, of course, leads to MIFKI. Now, there's a MIFKI offer at the back of the book. Publisher won't let me put it in the front of the book.
Right.
But there is a box at the end of the introduction in the front of the book that says you don't have to wait until you read this whole book. Get the most incredible free gift offer ever. Go to page, whatever the page number is, right now. So that's in front. And we have these spots throughout the book that lead you to a site to see this, to see that, to see something else. And the back doors of all those sites lead to MIFKI. So the book is physically constructed for a particular next step, a marketing next step. And it is content constructed to motivate you to take those bridge steps, because I got you all excited about using shock and awe packages, and I've described what some of the elements are, but I didn't show it to you. Now you want to see it.
So let me ask you this real quick. You said something that jumped out, and I don't want to get too far down the trail before I clarify. You said all of which lead to the next step, and obviously the next step ultimately is the MIFKI. And then you said, bridge steps and stuff. So let me just kind of clarify an idea. So ultimately there is one big next step that we want them to take from the book, which is to get the MIFKI that applies to this book. Yes, there's okay.
Yes, or it could be we want them to schedule their dynamic executive physical in our medical clinic.
Okay, the thing.
Okay. And yes, there's one.
Okay. And then,
because
throughout
you can only sell one thing at a time, right?
No, I understand. But then the way we're constructing the book, there might be bridge steps that then lead to that step. So the example of put a QR code in there, watch this video that demonstrates this thing I'm talking about. And then on that page, the call to action is to the big step, like check out the MIFKI or schedule your call or something like that. So we're
exactly
getting them
right.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that's what we're talking about.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And And we do not want to wait till the last chapter to do that, because a lot of people never get to the last chapter. Right?
I gotcha.
So the reason that books, classic motivational books like Think and Grow Rich and Magic of Thinking Big, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, have had such long lives. Melvin Powers explained to me, he said, you write copy. Go read the book now differently. You'll understand that it's a long sales letter. And all you would have to do to turn it into one is stick a last chapter on that's sold whatever it is attached to it you were going to sell. It's a perfect long sales letter for a 17-month coaching program on the 17 laws of success, practically applied. So Hill wrote a sales letter for his philosophy. He didn't really write a teaching book. As a matter of fact, if you go through it carefully, you will find you don't really get a lot of help with how to create definiteness of purpose. You're aware that it's important. You understand what it is, how it is different from ordinary goal setting, but you don't really get, here's the exercise to take to implement definiteness of purpose. Of that era, Maltz is actually the only one with psycho-cybernetics who did that.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing you need to do to help yourself, theater of the mind, and now here's the exercise to do that with. Well, nobody else did that because they were writing sales letters and publishing them as books. And now if you go back one step to the very beginning of Napoleon Hill, you get the Edmund Shaftesbury books. They're all constructed the same way, but they actually do have a last chapter that is a sales pitch for a course. And there's an ad for a course. Now, the fallacy in this is that somebody's got to read the whole damn book.
Right.
To buy, right? So since we know people don't do that, we want to give them multiple opportunities to get on a bridge, walk across a bridge, to see something related to what they are discovering in the book. And the back door of that leads to that one big thing we want them to buy or do.
So let me summarize kind of what you're saying. So the purpose of the book, 1, is to raise awareness. 2, that awareness creates dissatisfaction with current situation or results. And 3, we need to give them the opportunity to find salvation by creating multiple bridges to the next step within the book.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
If you have a local church, you do not want to write a book that includes the 100 prayers you need to use in your life.
Yeah.
A kit. No, you want to get people to church.
Right.
So the whole book has to be constructed to get people to church. And you can't have anything in there that stops them.
I just had a very cynical thought that they gave the one away for free called the Our Father, and you got to show up on Sunday with a love offering to get the rest of the story.
Well, I mean, yeah. And if you believe you're really helping people by that, then it's not cynical.
I understand. It's
just pragmatic. Well, no, but people need to, because a lot of people don't, sell effectively because they feel ashamed of it or embarrassed by it or think it's cynical, etc. And it's not.
Right.
If you believe what you're doing is really helpful.
Sure.
Now, the other big thing about the book, used to build your business. A question before you write is, who would I like to have expose me to their customers by promoting my book? Who would be most useful to me? And if you're a local, let's say you're a financial advisor locally, your answer is going to be different than if you are a financial advisor marketing yourself nationally. But you have to give this a lot of thought. Because, again, the purpose of the book is to build the business, right? The purpose of the book, now, you start to sacrifice some things. The purpose of the book is not necessarily to get on the New York Times bestseller list. The purpose of the book is not necessarily to get you on the Today Show. The purpose of the book is not necessarily to sell the most number of copies that can be sold, etc. The purpose of the book is to build your business. So now one of the things we want to think about is our utopian list, if you will, of everybody that we would like to promote the book to their customers, clients, patients, church members, etc. Because the best way to make that happen is to write them into the book.
Ah.
So you need a story about X. You want to find that story involving somebody you would like to have promote the book. You don't want to tell that story about somebody that there's little or no hope getting them to promote your book. And importantly, you want to choose these people because they have customers that are appropriate for you. So I would write somebody in totally different than, you might write in. You and I might have overlap, but you get the point.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to write in Kim Kardashian.
No.
Because I have no contact with her. I don't know her agent. I don't know anybody who knows her personally, etc. So my odds of just sending a book cold to Kim Kardashian's office with a Post-it note on the page she's on and having her voluntarily for free, when she usually gets paid six figures to do it, send out an Instagram about it.
Ain't happening. Plus, her customers aren't your customers anyway.
Well, yeah, right, exactly. So I don't want to tell a Kim Kardashian story, even if it perfectly makes my point. I want to find somebody I can use to make that point with whom I have a hope of obligating promotion, if not bulk purchase, and that their customers are relevant to me. Now, I'll violate it, of course, occasionally, because the example is so perfect. You want to talk about some celebrities generally when you write. Same thing in newsletters, right? But more often than not, I want to write people into the book who can be obligated by that to in turn promote the book to audiences I want to reach.
Talk a little bit about, okay, you said something pretty cool there, and it creates the obligation to promote the book. Talk about that.
Well, first of all, a lot of people will want to promote a book or a magazine or a newsletter in which they appear.
Okay.
Because it helps build their celebrity and credibility with their audience. Beyond that, a lot of people will be ethically obligated.
Okay.
This is Cialdini's reciprocity stuff. In that they're a decent, ethical person,
right?
And they can easily talk about or recommend the book with no skin off their nose,
right?
And they are featured in it. They will feel kind of crappy about not responding to that.
Gotcha.
In fundraising, at the time of year we're doing this, there's a ton of charity fundraising in the mail. One of the things that is still a staple that works is you get the fundraising letter from the starving Indians of the Mojave.
Literally or figuratively?
Well, I'm being figurative.
Okay, didn't know.
And in it, you get packet of address labels, return address labels, with your name and address on them, and like little Christmas trees in the corner.
Yeah.
Like you're going to use these on your Christmas cards.
Yeah.
And that arrives with the pitch letter.
Yeah. And then nail my mom with that every year.
Yeah. So I have watched Carla first put that in the pile that goes in trash, but keep the labels. Then I have watched her go get the pitch letter out of the trash.
Right.
An hour later, 2 hours later, the next day, because she feels guilty about using the labels and not sending a contribution.
Yeah.
This started her as a donor to St. Jude's 5-6 years ago. The label thing is long ended, but the donations to St. Jude continue.
Yeah.
So this obligation thing, it works, and so if I write you into a book and I then send you a copy of the book, you just post-it noted that I wrote about you, and I say, by the way, books live or die in their first 30 days. The book's coming out on such and such a date. It'd be ever so nice if you mentioned it one way or another to your tribe. That's one thing. If I don't put you in the book, and I send you a copy of the book, and I send you a letter saying, here's a copy of my new book. It's coming out on such and such a day. They live or die in the first 30 days. It'd be ever so nice if you mention it. Which way am I more likely? Am I more certain to get you to mention that book?
Oh, obviously the first one.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
So, call it cynical but if there's a point that needs to be made by an example, and I have choices of examples, and one of them is also a pathway to useful promotion, guess who's going to get to be the example? I will sometimes formalize this,
Right.
sometimes not. Like I just finished redoing 1997 book. It'll be one of the new No BS books next year. It'll be the first one, actually. The No BS Guide to Success in Business by Breaking All the Rules. And when an entrepreneur decided they wanted to do it, I picked people whose successes, there's 13 myths and lies in the book.
Okay.
Success.
Does that mean you picked 13 people, or do you have more than 13 people?
There's more than 13, but I picked about 10 primary.
Okay.
Who are clients for significant info tribe leaders with significant size lists over which they have significant influence.
Okay.
Those lists being appropriate buyers of my books and ultimately appropriate MIFKEs and so forth.
Okay.
And I sent a letter and said, here's the 13 lies. Here's all the chapters. If you want to be in one of them, just pick the one you want and tell me, and give me a write-up, and I will change it. I'm going to write it about you, and I'm going to include you in the book.
Holy crap.
So now I did that on a very formal level. There are others stuck in the book for whom it will be a surprise. They will not be featured at as much length, but they will be there. And so there will sort of be my A list of planned promotional partners. And then there will be my B list of hoped for promotional partners.
Right.
For whom it will be a surprise.
So when you did that, and you had the 13 chapters and you said, hey, pick the chapter you want to be in, did you tell them, hey, it's first come, first serve, so choose now before somebody else grabs the one you want?
Of course. Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, race is on.
Okay.
And somebody came in with a duplicate, and I said, sorry, so-and-so's already got that one, but let me suggest you could do this one because of this in your story. And then they rewrote that, and they took that one.
Okay.
Now, I then have a easy way for them to promote the book. So I have a online, March 22nd, I have an online 3-hour book event. And they can give out golden tickets for people to come to the nothing, and everybody's being told nothing's being sold there except the book promoted. There's no data capture. Nobody has to find their email to get in.
Wow. That's
no
unusual for you, Dan.
Yep. There's no list building. It's just a 3-hour event tied to the book. please give away the tickets. Beyond that, because somebody's in the book, they are very likely to write about the book in their newsletter, to talk about the book on their monthly call, maybe buy some copies of the book and send it out to their clients, et cetera. So some version of this scheme has been part of virtually every book I've done since 1981. I got better at it as time went on, but some version of it from the very beginning. And I teach this, and some people I can't get to do it. I have a client who, name him because I don't want to offend him, but I have a client who does a number of books a year, build his business. One of the things that is useful to him is media in a relatively limited niche. So I nag him, put that media person in the book. Somewhere, somehow, get a page or two about that person in the book. You've 10,000 times the likelihood of being brought on that person's show, talk about your book, because you did that, than if you didn't. And I can't get him to do it when he does each book.
Wow. It's kind of ignorant.
So, no. He's a very smart guy. I don't know why I can't get him to do it. If I knew why, I would get him to do it. I've gotten him to do other stuff he didn't want to do to start with. But I can't get him to do this for some reason. Big guys like the best success book I've seen come out in the last 10 years is Schwarzenegger's new book, Useful, 7 Tools for Life. It is fantastic.
Really?
And I'm plugging it like everywhere.
Are you in it?
No. And I don't need to be, because it's a fabulous book. I want everybody to read it. And it's Schwarzenegger.
Right.
And he don't have to do this to get the book plugged, because he's friggin' Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah.
If he wants to be on CNBC on the business show and talk about it, all he's got to do is, have somebody make a phone call.
Right.
If he wants to be on the Jimmy Fallon show, all he's got to do is have somebody make a phone call.
Right.
Right. You and I are not in that position. I'm not even in that position on Planet Dan. I am with a few people, but mostly everybody on Planet Dan has got a lot going on. They got a lot of their stuff to promote, and they often think about conflict and limited number of promotional things they dare do in a calendar year, and all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm not Arnold, and I know it. So I have to engineer these things carefully. My sales book, Inobia sales book, the most recent edition, which is, 10 years ago, I actually did care about numbers for a particular reason, numbers of books sold. And so one of the things I did is I barely knew the CEO of Tupperware. His name was Owings. Tupperware, by the way, went completely to crap when he left. And he had it just cooking. But I had known Rick a long time ago when we were both young pups, direct sales. And so I sent a letter, said I'm redoing my No BS sales book. Here's a copy of the current one. I'd like to come and interview you and talk about Tupperware in the chapter on XYZ. And so I flew to Orlando, and I went to Tupperware, and a 1-hour meeting turned into 4 hours. And both had a good time. And I put Rick and Tupperware in the book. Not even in a giant way, but we're in there. Tupperware bought a book for every regional manager.
Wow.
Which made the publisher very happy. And they plugged it in an email to every Tupperware person.
Wow.
That's I don't know how much you'd have to spend in ad dollars to sell the equivalent number of books.
A gajillion.
But it would be a lot.
Yeah.
And randomly, yes, Tupperware does a book review every month, some kind of sales or success book for their people, or they did when Rick was there. So there's 12 slots a year. Randomly, just sending in sales books without Tupperware in them, do you get one of those 12? Maybe, maybe not. But see, I got one of those 12 by obligation.
Yeah.
And
well, you went. I mean, you went to Orlando. Yeah. It wasn't just, hey, dude, can you answer these questions in this email for me? Which
That's
is
right.
what most people would do.
No, I created, relationship.
Right.
And by the way, I learned a few things that, I've been speaking about and talking about ever since. So that was fine too. And bought Tupperware stock, and I did very well on it till the end when he was replaced. And I still had a lot of it that I hadn't sold at the top, and I didn't get out fast enough. And the replacement CEO and their team placed the whole board. They destroyed the whole company in 6 months, thinking that they were going to take Tupperware and go digital. But I think its stock now is, I think it's either delisted or it's worth $1 or something.
Wow.
I sold a big hunk of it at like $200 and some odd, paid $40 for it. So happy camper. Although I wish I'd sold it all, my fault. But anyway, this is a part of the scheme for using a book to build a business. And that's important because people think, gee, if I have a book, and everybody tells them, right, if you want authority, credibility, and celebrity, do a book. So they think that the book is the magic carpet, that they can climb on, sit on in their backyard, and it will lift them to fame and fortune.
Right.
It doesn't do squat. You'll be sitting on it, forever. it's everything you do around the book that the book enables you to do that matters. In speaking, when I was very active in still marketing to get gigs, active in NSA, the norm, everybody had a trifold speaker brochure with their picture on the front of it holding a microphone and their picture inside standing next to somebody famous.
Mm-hmm.
One photo that was the funniest, the speaker was like standing next to Norman Vincent Peale, and clearly Norman Vincent Peale he looked like he was trying to get away from the guy and catch a bus. But so everybody had one of these trifold brochures,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody had a demo tape. And that was the gotta have.
Okay.
That was what everybody told you gotta have. And National Speakers Association, for a few years, even had a best brochure contest. And Dino Cobain, who's now president of High Point University, friend of mine, Dino had, I think, 6 books that he had done, all hardbound books.
Mm-hmm.
So when he got a and he didn't have a trifold brochure. When he got a speaking inquiry, he had a really nice, beautiful, full-color box with his picture on the front of it, but with a large audience. So you knew he was actually speaking to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And it fit inside the 6 books. And that's what he sent. So Mary, the meeting planner, called, 8 speakers and wanted stuff from them. Consider one of them for the upcoming National Convention of Hardware Retailers. And she got 5 trifold brochures.
Mm-hmm.
And she got this box. Bud, right?
Yeah.
At the other end of the extreme, a speaker by the name of Larry Dolan. Larry had no brochure, no demo tape. He sent a box like you get paper in at Office Max. And in it, packed to the lid, were testimonial letters.
Okay.
And it was closed up with duct tape and a handwritten label on it, and that's what he sent. And they both won a lot. But the book thing, the book didn't do the magic in Nito's case. In fact, in most cases, I can assure you, the books probably didn't get read. But the fact that there were 6 of them, and they were hardbound, and they looked like they were from a real publisher, even though they weren't.
Right.
And they arrived with giant thud factor. That mattered. I forget the year, but I had a client in L.A., cosmetic surgeon. His name was Robert Kotler. Long after I had him as a client, he appeared in a reality TV show about surgeons. I can't remember the name. But anyway, Bob had been running a full-page ad in Los Angeles Magazine. Big, glossy lifestyle magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd been doing very well with it, even though it was, the price of the ad was mind-boggling. But he was doing very well. After a time, second cosmetic surgeon bought a full-page ad. By the time Bob got to me, there were like 9 or 10 full-page ads and some half-page ads. Part of the magazine looked like a telephone directory for... And naturally, the response to his ad dipped, divided. We switched the whole thing to something that now would look commonplace, but did not then.
Mm-hmm.
A full-page ad for The Consumer's Guide to Cosmetic Surgery, a book by Dr. Kotler. The ad didn't advertise the practice. The ad didn't invite anybody to come in for an exam. The ad offered the book. And shot our ROI on ad cost right back up to where it had been very beginning. And it took years before anybody copied it. We were also very thoughtful and careful about the construction of the book itself, although not to the extent that I just described.
Right.
Scan codes, for example, didn't exist, but I did this. And we did things to get media for the book, etc. So the book itself, not a magic carpet. Everything you do around the book that will either build your business or won't build your business.
So let me ask you this real quick, and this is can you overdo the writing people into the book? Like if you're dropping a different, 3 names per page for 200 pages, that's overkill. And that's, you said you're strategic about the big ones, but.
Well, yeah, because you won't be able to say anything meaningful about them.
Right. Okay.
So it would require you to have like an 800-page book, which will not serve your purposes.
I got you.
Cases. So yes, you have to be strategic.
Okay. So you mentioned. Go ahead.
Well, I was about to say, look, a book is about storytelling.
Right.
So again, you're not writing a how-to manual.
Right.
You are raising awareness and dissatisfaction and desire.
Right.
And so every item of that you do need examples for. And you can use more than one. And to your point that you just made, one can be long, one can be medium, and one can be short.
Gotcha.
I have had with my publishers. I don't have it anymore with Entrepreneur. They're letting me do what I want. But go back a decade. One of the fights I would have with editors is these 3 stories are redundant. Take one out. My answer was, I'm an idiot. I know they're redundant. I don't care that they're redundant. They're there so we can sell books. I didn't go so far as to say they're there so I can get people through the book, sell them a lot of other stuff that you guys don't even know about. But
probably best not to tip your hand that far.
Well, they don't really care,
Yeah.
It's beyond them. It's like going out, and finishing this call and going over and talking to your dog about it.
Right.
Dog will cock its head and, act like it's paying attention, but, it doesn't really get it.
Right. I gotcha. So let's
But
when we only got a few minutes left, and I don't want to you dropped the example of the doctor and advertising the consumer information guide. Are there any other kind of cool angles for the book? Which that guide, I mean, that's yeah, you just set the buying criteria. The consumer's guide sets the buying criteria of which you are perfectly suited to meet every single one of them. Um, but are there any other cool angles for a book like that thing that we talked about in a previous interview, Craig Proctor, his thing with the 87 customers spill the beans and other stuff like that?
yeah, I mean, so if um, you think now about, say, a book that you are going to use in your sales process, but probably not as the lead generation item,
Mm-hmm.
there's a place for a book that is nothing but stories.
Okay.
Um, that is the that is positioned as the 27 secrets to exceptional success that 99% of the real estate agents don't know. And the 27 is actually a testimonial focused on a different method that is part of the Craig system.
Right.
I used one for years. I got it right here. It's a full paperback. It's 57 pages, and the title is A Lifetime of Amazing Results. Case histories from users of Dan Kennedy's marketing and entrepreneurial strategies from the past 20 years. And it's nothing but, it's testimonials. But it's titled like a book, and it's bound like a book, and it's illustrated like a book. So it's a lot better than a brochure.
Gotcha. Okay.
The book has a lead generation magnet, by the way. Still works. Continues to work. There's some split testing done a couple of years ago with radio ads for ED clinics, direct to exam or to book, free book, then getting them to the exam. And in ROI dollars, the free book campaign is 4 times better than the direct to exam campaign. Slower, of course, and there's a higher cost per appointment because there's the cost of the book and the follow-up behind the book. But when all the dust settles, you're at a 4x better ROI.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, look, if I was going into a new niche today from scratch, very first 2 things I would do is I would write a book, but with it all schemed as I just described, and I would do a newsletter.
Paid or free?
First, well, at least appearing to be paid.
Okay.
When I was first starting to market myself and my 2 companies in the speaker niche, I created a product. It was like, can't remember it exactly now. It's in the archives collection, packaging. It's like best strategies of America's most successful, something like that. And I sought out and interviewed 8. There were 8 cassettes in the package. I interviewed 8. Two of them were people that a lot of speakers wouldn't know. They were my clients. The other six were the top stars at the time, both elder statesman level and fast up and coming, known to everybody. And I interviewed them all. That was the product. And I spent a lot of money selling that product at a loss because of the way it positioned me. And all of them, because they all have egos, they all, in their media, made a big deal out of being one of the 8 featured in the program. Several of them bought dozens. One of them bought a couple hundred to give away. So it wasn't a book, right? But it was essentially an audio book, if you want to think about it that way.
Sure.
And I used it very strategically.
Very cool. Excellent. Any final thoughts on using a book? That was gold what you said there, though. If I was going to go into a niche today, the first 2 things I would do would be to, number 1, write a book, and number 2, start a newsletter.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I have a client right now he's a member. I remember. Who started a software company from scratch, built it up, and sold it for a crap load of money. And he has done a couple of startups before that. So he now wants to position himself as a coach to tech startup entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't want a lot of them. He wants a small number at big dollars. And he has identified and compiled, I think he's got it right, a list of 8,000 potential prospects for him. And he doesn't want to be famous to the world. He just wants to be famous to them.
Gotcha.
And so our strategy is exactly what I just said. Start a newsletter. Send it to them as if they paid for it. They won't remember whether they did or they didn't. And then get a book done. Get the book to them. And you will get phone calls. Little patient. Not horribly patient. 6 months, tops.
Okay.
And you don't have to do a YouTube channel. You don't have to do Instagram. You don't have to do an X message every day.
Yeah. And that shit's getting old and everybody's ignoring it anyway.
Well, geez, Doc, the clutter and the noise. And come on, we used to worry about junk mail. Too many pieces in the mailbox every day. Are you kidding me? You can't. There's no possible way to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
On any subject.
And it's getting exponentially worse daily.
Yes. So my strategy for him. Yeah, but I'm doing tech, guys. I said, I don't care, right? They'll all get a FedEx.
Right.
That thanks them for subscribing, and here's your first issue. And believe it or not, they all read paper.
Yeah.
And they're all impressed by a book. And you don't have to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
We'll just do this. We'll get you your 80. You want 80, there's 8,000, we'll get you your 80.
Excellent. All right, Dan, this was awesome. Great job, brother.
Thank you, sir.
That was terrific. Really, really good stuff.
Good. You and yours have a good holiday.
You too, Dan. We'll talk to you next year. Yuck, yuck.
Yes, sir. Next year.
All right, man. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to one of our Gold Members Only podcasts. Make sure you upgrade and become a Diamond member and get access to the Diamond Members Only podcast as well. On top of that, you'll also get access to the whole enchilada with all of Dan's courses and so much more. So make sure you upgrade to Diamond now by going to diamondupgrade.com.